So if you're watching a show where the local bartender can pass a charisma check to be able to negotiate with gods, you know that you're watching V'ger Please, A Vile Visit Bajor. My name is Joseph.
I've spent the past week living in the Delta Quadrant. Your co-host, Peter.
Peter, I do think that that's got to be our first topic of conversation before we get into our episode review. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, this roguelike FTL adjacent video game that I have been sweating, that we have all been sweating hard.
Indeed.
Our Discord has been going nonstop talking about this game since they put the teaser announcement out, and then there was some gameplay footage, and then Friday, out of nowhere, they just dropped the demo.
Christmas in October, I believe, was your DM to me.
I was like, no, I'm sorry, it was Monday, because I'm at work and I'm trying to deal with running payroll.
And it's like, sorry guys, you're getting paid has to wait. I have to explore this thing that was made for me.
I was like, man, if it wasn't payroll, I would probably call a sick day right now. So the demo came out of nowhere with zero fanfare. It was just boom, here it is. I love it.
Yeah, same. It's early. You can tell it's early. There's some things to work out, some interface to improve, but what's there, the core that's there, is perfect for what I want.
Yes.
It's definitely a game that's also trying to be mobile friendly. So, which I like because it's a game that could probably play well on a tablet. The premise is exactly what we want, which is, what if you could just do the wildest possible shit with the Voyager premise and tell a boutique version of the story through this game interface. And also it seems to have some challenges relates to, the way that roguelikes often do with like resource preservation and approach and a little bit of randomness that, gives it some flavor.
A little XCOM-y too in terms of base building.
Yes.
And people can die.
Yes. And sometimes randomly. Just like, again, the variants can just get you in ways that have force you to do things you wouldn't otherwise do.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay demo that they shared that included the Eye of the Needle Romulan guy.
Oh,
someone kind of your crew, like, man, we are at alt history levels I didn't know were possible. I was excited that I could keep Lon Suitor. You're telling me I can do shit like bring people through temporal wormholes. Like, okay, let's go.
I've got some real strong thoughts. We're trying to do some cool stuff on our end that I hope pans out. But
same. I don't want to overpromise, but we're trying.
So I'm gonna keep some of my top shelf talking points under wraps for now. But I, again, thoroughly impressed by what I've seen, and if this is the rough start, I can't wait to see where it goes from there. And also, too, I mean, it's a turn-based game that I can walk away from and go make the kids lunch and then come back to it. Yes, that is something that could absolutely work very well in my life.
It's perfectly designed for the boomer gamer habit. It is in my wheelhouse.
So
it's you remember the brief obsession that you and I and some of our friends had with vampire
Survivors.
Yeah. Where it was a perfect bite-sized game to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was a lot of fun to do until we kind of
we
satisfied it.
I made myself sick playing it. I the day I got Death Unlocked, I put something like 8 hours in, and I physically felt ill, and that kind of was what shook me off the chin. It's funny you brought that up because I went back. I've been on the road a lot, and I started listening to old Enterprise podcasts, and I listened to the one, I want to say it was the birthday cake episode. I went back and I listened to Dear Doctor.
Ooh, you had a song and everything.
Old.
Yeah.
I forgot about the song, and I forgot about how fucking mad. That bullshit at the end of I'm 100% mad about all of that again.
Okay, that's good.
I think
let it go, I suppose.
The weakest shit out of anything I've ever seen Star Trek related, and that includes like Kurtzman level Star Trek too.
I don't know. There's some Discovery you haven't seen that would probably convince you otherwise.
Because I'm a man of taste and I protect myself.
That's good. You should.
But the one after that, I think, is the Probalian's birthday cake combo.
It's like yeah.
And that's when I think we actually talk about Vampire Survivors. So, yeah, absolutely. The easy access, pick it up, put it down, gaming experience. Sign me up.
Indeed. So again, we don't want to overpromise. We're trying to do something cool. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. You'll find out in hopefully the near future. But on that note, I think if we have a strong recommendation, it's go play the free demo on Steam for Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. It's such a cool thing that a indie game company who clearly loves Star Trek Voyager the way we do is making the game. You can already see it. Right down to the shitty little humor that Tom Paris says like, Harry, you're gonna get promoted at any time. Like it's like only people who know can do that. So
excellent.
All right. So what episode of Star Trek did we watch this week, sir?
We're getting into season 3, episode 16, Profit Motive. First aired February 20th, 1995. Written by Ira Steven Behr and Robert Hewitt Wolfe, based on material by William Stape, and then directed by Odo himself, Rene Abangeros.
That's how we're saying it, and I'm just going to stick with it because our thing is we mispronounce things.
Sure.
I think we've been told it's pronounced a different way, and those people are probably right. And it's not that we're ignoring you because we don't like you; it's we're ignoring you because that's our thing.
Those people don't have podcasts, Joe.
That's true.
What is
Go
their
make your own
opinion,
podcast where you pronounce his name correctly. Go ahead.
Pronunciation, please. The Peaky Podcast.
So, I am a liker. I like the Ferengi episodes. I'm gonna say I love them because some of them can be a little rough around the edges. But I like the Ferengi episodes.
But
I like this one too. Okay. so I think that the more you get of Quark, the better. I think more Quark is good. I think Quark is never bad. It's my overall feeling on the matter. It's like when does some of it work better than others? Yes. Like does Rules of Acquisition obviously a better Ferengi episode than this one? Sure. But like I said when I teased it, you do get to see Quark negotiate with the prophets successfully. Who else could go into the wormhole, have an orb experience, and come out of it having achieved a successful negotiation except the Ferengi's Ferengi? That's what the story is at its core. Is there some like goofy ass I think they say Marx Brother level humor in this? Yes. Is it a little too goofy? Sure. But at its core, it's about Quark showing, as he will continue to show, that he is the Ferengi's Ferengi.
I got 5 lines of notes on this thing, man.
I'm not shocked. I knew you weren't going to like it.
I have loved all of the Ferengi episodes up until this point. This episode's a fucking turkey, and thank God, because season 3 needed some low points for it.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be on the bottom 3. I'm just still like looking at it at a, it's the context of it all for me, Peter. Like we were in such a lovely spot at getting to do Deep Space Nine. Even their turkeys are like, I actually kind of liked it. It was fun.
The intro in this thing is great. The rest of it is not great. And to see that this came from Ira Steven Behr and Wolfe, like these are the big names, 2 of the 3 big names for Deep Space Nine. I mean, you can't win all the time.
A lot of scripts.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be kind of cashing it in. It's just they can't all be bangers. They really just can't.
Flat out. If you are watching the show, as the people who are watching the show watch the show, which is you are watching all of it, you know exactly what is happening with the very first frame here. And it's Quark laying there getting jacked off.
Yes.
Point blank.
Mm-hmm.
With Ferengi, the ears are where the dick is.
Correct.
And this lady is pumping him off both hands.
And it's like, oh, I'm new to this. Am I doing this correctly? Like the double entendre is right there, right? Like we're not over interpreting any of this. This is not us being weird or gross. This is what they intended. It's right
This
there.
is what the production design team intended. This is what the actors intended. And this is exactly what you are seeing as the audience. Now you can jump back to Enterprise. And you can pull up Roxanne Dawson's seminal masterpiece, Vox Sola,
Indeed.
where everybody is in a tentacle monster / bukkake cum room.
A circumstance so egregious, we ended up interviewing a famous YouTuber over the fact that they also noticed this. The only other people we've ever seen noticed this.
And somehow the production team didn't understand that they were trapping everybody in cum.
Yeah, somehow.
This, though, everybody knows what's happening. And it's great. And Armin Shimmer-Mazar is just in all of his glory, loving it.
Facing as hard as possible, yes.
And it's a 2-prong masturbation session for him because A, he is getting pumped off, and B, the profits are right there on the horizon. And we've got a reference to something that utterly delighted me, and that is the self-sealing stem bolts.
Yes, I told you. It was a recurring character. The self-sealing stem bolts are going to be coming up for 7 seasons.
First time we heard about the self-sealing stem bolts was when Jake and Nog street hustled their way into a load of these things that I think they successfully sold, didn't they?
Correct. They traded them for land on Bajor.
Big win.
Which they were then able to sell, yes.
Big win. And did they get those self-sealing stem bolts from Quark?
No, there was a trader that was whose buyer for him collapsed or something, and so they made the deal with that guy. And I think it is a connection that Nog got through Quark, but I don't know how this 100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts made its way back to Quark, but I can imagine it happening though, you know.
Well, he got his turn with him this time, and he has been sitting on them for a while. This buyer is a family member of an influential and seemingly rich group that is doing some sort of construction project. They don't have a good purchasing agent. They don't know where to get wholesale from, and they are getting ripped the fuck off. And
classic purchasing story, by the way.
Yeah.
As we both know.
And what's great about this is it reinforces who Quark is as a Ferengi, and it is a guy who lets the girls get in the way. It's a guy who cannot keep his eye on the prize. As keen of an eye as he has, Quark is deeply flawed by his distractibility romantically.
He's a lover boy, and he can't get off it.
Sometimes it's heart that is dragging him from or into danger as he falls in love with these radicals. And sometimes it's his dick, as he should go down and sign the contract, but instead he wants to lay around with Hanky Panky. And I love that this comes back and bites him in the ass super hard. So
yes, relatable behavior.
She's like, hey, am I doing this right? Maybe we should go down and like look at the product and sign the contract, right? And he's like, no, we got plenty of time. What could happen? This is fine. Let's not ruin the mood.
What can happen is Wallace Shaw shows up. So Grand Nagus X shows up and just moves into his place wordlessly. And as we've established, you know, Zek is not only the leader of the Ferengi people, he's also a spiritual figure for what constitutes essentially the Ferengi spiritual belief in their capitalist society. So he wields a sort of absolute power over the Ferengi that's more than just like the person who's in charge of the planet, right? They're very deferential, and particularly Quark, as we'll find out at the end, which I find very interesting. Like when he says,
let's compare and contrast real quick here. Let's take Kira Nerys and let's take Quark. She is a exemplar of her situation, and she is a devout follower of the religion, and she gives a deference to the Kai position. And even though Wynn is sitting in there and Wynn is an absolute fucking shitbag, she still bends the knee and is willing to swallow down the things that are being said. And then let's take Quark, who is this ruthless capitalist. And as this episode, if I'm going to take anything away from this episode, it is going to be that he is all in on these principles. And even when Nagus Zek is clearly completely off his rocker and deeply flawed, he is not willing to personally condemn this guy or act against him unscrupulously, even behind closed doors with his own brother. Like, he is fully bought in. And as you talk about this religious thing, like, there is a lot of similarity between Kira and Quark in this zealousness.
And it also comes from like a authentic place, right? Like Quark genuinely wants to help Zek fix. He needs to fix Zek. And there's a matter of self preservation, and that he doesn't want to go back to Ferengar and get killed. Right?
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like at the end when Rom points out he didn't even thank you. He's like, he's the Negus. He doesn't have to thank me.
he
Right?
says
Like,
in there, like, I have modeled my entire life after this guy.
yeah.
And like I said, he never condemns Zek. Like, yeah, the motivation to not go back and die and be lynched is certainly there. But like, he has ample opportunity to like kick Zek while he's down. And Zek's treated him like trash, seemingly. Like, I feel like Quark's just got his eyes open. And he knows that in the game he's playing, you get fucked a lot, but the opportunity and the exposure is worth the cost.
Correct.
And like, he is willing to continue playing this game with full buy-in, and he's not carrying a malice. Like, he knows that dealing with Zek can be detrimental to him, but he's not like, man, fuck this guy. And I think that is not something I was expecting to see maintained through all this. So I'll be interested to see where his relationship with the Nagus' office continues to go. I still think, and I think it's, I don't know if it's budgetary or creative, but like, again, for as important as Zek is, the complete lack of security, he's got one body guard goon. He's always traveling by shuttle, which made sense the last time when he was coming out to negotiate the Dominion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
yeah, why doesn't he have a personal marauder? Like, it seems like he should have more of an entourage.
yeah,
I think it's more budget. I think it's just like
absolutely.
recommending this, keep the story relatively small. You're already having to pay Wallace Shaw to do your guest spot, right? I'm sure he's not super cheap.
He's not John Rhys Davies, I'm sure.
Sure, but you know, he's a guy people know. He's got a very recognizable voice, you know.
How long till he gets kidnapped? Where's that episode at? Because he keeps coming out to Deep Sheets 9. He keeps coming out to fool around at this fucking gas station.
There are lots of Ferengi episodes to come with Zek. Don't worry. All kinds of there will be shenanigans. There will be kidnappings. Don't you worry, buddy. I like the Ferengi plot in this for the reason that it actually kind of pays off the wormhole aliens / prophets a bit in the story that they tell. Like what happens with Zek, what he did, which makes sense, what the prophets did to him, which also makes sense, and then setting up for Nog to have this great, or not Nog, for Quark to have this great character moment where he really delivers on, like, the fact that the guy goes into the wormhole and opens the orb of the prophets and is like, I'm here to negotiate, like I know, yes, you're non-linear aliens, you're gods to the Bajorans. That's not what I'm fucking here about. Like, and succeeds, unblinking, absolutely, no pause, right? Like he risks it all to go do this for him. He believes in this man, and he believes in the Ferengi way, and I think that's what makes the episode very charming in the end to me. As I don't mind its flaws.
He believes in the Nagus. He believes in the Ferengi way, and specifically, he doesn't care about anybody else.
Correct.
You jump back to the we're setting up the subspace receiver, the prophets quote, whatever. Like, this is all shit that Sisko could have done, right? Sisko, the emissary, could have gone and spoken to the gods. I mean, that's what he's really supposed to be doing.
The
right?
prophets even bring it up. Did the Sisko send you?
Hey, we've picked you because you do not worship us. Man, now there's a case to be made that maybe Quark should have been the emissary, but I think Quark would have abused it, and that would have been something that they would have seen. But the prophets are looking for someone to communicate with them that will not treat them as gods and can have this true line of dialogue to execute whatever this agenda is. Sisko could have been doing that, getting a better grip on things. And instead it's Quark like, I'm going to go talk to these fucking, I don't care about the religion. I don't care who worships you as a god. You're going to show me some life-altering moment? I'm going to hit you with a yes, but.
That's why he's a master of his craft. He literally convinces the prophets, you want to change what you've done because otherwise every Ferengi is going to come annoy you exactly like I am. Do you really want to deal with more of us? Do you want to be done with this? take him back to what he was, and I promise you will never come back. It's brilliant.
So the Nagus has moved in, and the Nagus has a wildly different outlook on what his life should be and what the influence he has over the Ferengi culture is going to look like. And he takes a page out of King James and decides he's going to rewrite the Bible.
Indeed. And not just given that spit and polish that King James did, but he is radically changing the orientation of the Ferengi culture to be one of generosity and charity, and to do good in the universe using all of their resources as a tool.
Not only their resources, but others' resources. And this is exemplified by, as these new rules of acquisitions are laid out, it's Quark coming back to his own personal quarters and finding them completely bare. That the Nagus has given away all of his shit.
All of his possessions have been destroyed.
I did like the scene in Rom's room. Quark's been crashing with him. Rom is a complete fucking slob. He blames the fact that the quarters are dirty because Nog isn't there to clean up, as is his duty, because he's visiting Grandma, presumably because he's about to go off to Starfleet Academy.
Good point.
While Quark is very unhappy at life with his brother, discovers that there's some odd things about the furnishing in here.
Yes, finds out that Rom has committed the most realistic and relatable act of criminality one can, and that is stealing from the office. He's helped himself to some of the whiskey, some of the beverages, some pilfering from the inventory here and there for his own personal comfort. The petty larceny of boy, I don't think anyone will miss this. And indeed, they didn't, right? The only way that Quark has noticed is because he's literally in his quarters. So Rom's a better thief than he gives him credit for.
I would like to see that be the real B plot here, or even the A plot, is how has Rom slipped all of this through the audits? How has Eagle Eye Quark not noticed any of it? And again, all this is great, watching Armin Shimmerman get to act through the makeup. Again, the body language continues to be such a strong point with him. And as he's confronting Rom over all the stolen material, just a great scene to watch from that standpoint. But yeah, they go over to confront Nagus Zek. Nagus Zek invites him into Quark's quarters, which are now empty. Zek's bodyguard is laying on the floor crying because he knows exactly what's going on. And they hit him with these new and seemingly improved rules of acquisition. And the moral of the story there is that profit is the enemy and that you should be doing everything you can to be fair and just.
So you spoke of the B plot. Let's talk about that, because this is something that had no depth to it when it was created, but the writers actually kept in mind for the thing that I think it's helpful that you already know that Bashir is going to be an augment, because they looked back to this episode to try and craft a retroactive explanation for his actions through what they did in a way that I find clever. So the purpose of the story for the B plot is that Julian Bashir has been nominated for an award for his prestigious medical innovations as it relates to, I believe they call it biomolecular replication. And it's called the Carrington Award. And Bashir immediately states, I'm not winning this. This is something that's given to doctors at the end of their careers. I'm the youngest person ever to be nominated for it, and I'm not going to win. The actual purpose of this B plot is as a meta reference to the fact that Star Trek The Next Generation was nominated for an Emmy for its 7th season for Best Dramatic Program. It is the very first, as we have said many times, it's the only syndicated show and is the only science fiction show that was ever nominated up to that point for that award, which is considered quite prestigious. But everyone knew they wouldn't win because they were against NYPD Blue. It's how are you going to beat NYPD Blue? That's not what's going to happen. This is it's a pleasure to be nominated moment. Okay, that was the actual intention behind this, is them commenting on the process by which they thought that there's no chance we're going to win. And then they heard like, no, they're not going to give it to NYPD Blue. And they started to convince themselves that maybe they have a shot. And in the end, it went to picket fences instead. And they didn't win. But the cast and crew actually thought they had a shot and started to think about how maybe we need to have like acceptance speeches ready and that sort of thing. Okay. That's actually what this plot is, which
That's
is kind of goofy
too. Cause like I didn't know any of that.
Right. It's in the memory alpha, and I've heard it before of like, this is what this was in reference to, because it was happening contemporaneously at the time.
First of all, long-standing general order on V'ger Please is fuck any award shows. They don't know shit. And if you take that as the true measure of quality, you've got something wrong with you. But, where's NYPD Blue these days? Is anybody going back and doing podcasts on that old shit? No. The longevity was with Trek. The whole time I'm watching this Bashir subplot, like that's what I'm thinking in my head is like, does this guy know he's an augment? Why is he really out on Deep Space Nine? Why is he stressing out about all this attention suddenly put on? Because he doesn't apply for this award.
Correct. Dax puts him up for it. Yeah.
Nominates him. And there is a terror, a perceived terror in the portrayal here. So hearing that they still didn't know that they were going to go this augment subplot with him was interesting. And everything you're saying, great job going back and retroactively making this make great sense. Because that's what I assume the interpretation is going to be down the road, is that he doesn't want the attention on him.
Correct. And that's what's brilliant about it is this goofy little plot line that otherwise doesn't make a lot of sense because it's a reference to a real world thing, and being able to craft a backstory for your character that you didn't really have in mind at the time that fits perfectly into why he's like nervous, doesn't really want to think about it, knows he's not going to win, doesn't seem to want to win. And it's got all of this unspoken sort of energy about it that then can be explained to the fact that he's self-conscious because if he's an augment and he's winning this, he doesn't think he deserves it because he's cheated. His existence is a lie. He was gifted with things other people don't have. He doesn't see his achievements as legitimately his own.
He's going to deprive someone who is close to death from a well-deserved award.
Correct.
I don't know where we're at with augments in Berman era. I know that in Strange New Worlds, when number one is exposed as an augment, they try to court-martial her. And perhaps the real opening of the can of worms that maybe this Strange New Worlds is going to be bad, because that was a rough episode.
It was really bad. It was what turned me off the show for good.
So is that a threat he's going to have to contend with here? Is if he's exposed that he might lose his posting, if not go to jail or something worse? I don't know. But I really like this subplot, even in the moment it was created, because all too often in Star Trek, the good guys win, or the unexpected happens and luck plays out to the main character's favors. I like the idea of just here's this little slice of life of I was nominated for an award too early and I'm going to lose, and I gotta deal with that. So if you cut all the augment stuff out and you kind of view this in the moment as it was initially intended, it's an ego thing, I think. Him knowing that there are factors outside of the actual criteria of the award that he can't win, and now it's this exercise in ego bashing where there's this guy who never loses, and he's going to have to eat a loss, and he's going to have to be gracious about it, even if he thinks deep down inside he should be winning. And I think they do a nice job kind of like hinting at that.
Yeah. They leave it ambiguous so that later on you can apply whatever you want to it. And in the moment you can apply he's got an ego and he's kind of like trying to balance,
the dark
gracious
scene
with that part of himself. And then when the augment stuff comes out, and the stuff they do with the augment stuff perfectly complements the explanation of like, he's discomforted by the idea of winning it as a principle.
The dart scene with Miles, where they're just playing darts in a fucking cargo bay.
Yes.
You got the whole station, and you're going to hang out where Cardassian gulls are getting aced.
Listen, you don't want to be bothered. You're hanging out with your boy. Now they're friends, right? Like, now this is them just hanging out, John, like, Really starting to develop that.
Do you want to go play darts at Quarks and drink and throw darts? No, let's just throw darts in a fucking cargo bay.
Don't worry, they do that later. They get that idea later.
But O'Brien is certainly ribbing him on it, like intentionally bringing it up, intentionally rubbing his face in the fact that like they both know that he should be winning. The bad part of this, I think, is that they make up this work he's being credited on. And as we just talked about 1 or 2 episodes ago, I think it's the Kai win. It's the chewed up and spit out.
Yeah.
Acknowledge
life support. Yeah.
What a great doctor he is. I mean, he's done so much stuff. They could have referenced his work on that, not quadriplegic, the lady in the wheelchair who floats around and he makes her bulletproof.
Laura. Yes.
Laura. You could have cited that. You could have cited what he did for Vedic Barile. You could have cited, like, he's got a lot of miracles under his belt so far. So to just make up random shit, I thought was kind of a missed opportunity.
I agree. But in the grand scheme of Trek sins, it's a venial one, I'll say.
I wonder if Jadzia Dax will call this moment out. Like, I'm assuming at some point she's going to find out he's an augment. If she'd be like, that's why you were so upset with me for nominating you against your... And that's kind of a shitty thing to do, too. Like, Jadzia's not stupid. Jadzia should know just as well as anybody else that this award is for old people who are about to die as a lifetime achievement award. Like, dragging this guy in, unless it's with the express purpose of like ego bashing him, kind of a dick move.
I mean, I like the idea that Dax has just really thought like it would be good for him to be nominated. Like she sees that as the victory, right? Like if you think about it in the frame that they meant, Dax is the voice that says it's actually great that you were nominated, right? It's a demonstration of your ability that you were even considered for the award at the age of 30, right? Which she has that perspective because she's hundreds of years old because she's Dax, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she knows probably he won't win. But the point is they actually put you on the short list at age 30. You could win much sooner than you think. And, that's again, taking it back to what was a meta reference to is it's great that TNG got nominated, even though you're not going to fucking win, because it shows they're taking you seriously. And if they're taking you seriously, that leads to great things in the future. So that part doesn't quite translate as well to the eventual augment issue, and it doesn't come up again. I don't think I'm spoiling too much to tell you that they don't go quite that far.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the B plot. There's not much to it. Like it's like 3 scenes, like him getting the news, him talking to Miles, him talking to Odo, who has like intelligence for him, and then finding out he doesn't get the award.
Yep.
So interesting little character beat to fill in the time, right? It felt like hey, this ran a little short on the Ferengi stuff. What do we do? But it works fine. As far as the Ferengi plotline goes, this might be a short episode, right? Like most of the content, and this is where it does fall apart, is just kind of goofy humor, right? Whether it's just them being appalled by like reading the new rules of acquisition or eventually engaging in boobery to kidnap Zek to take him to the prophets.
Zek fucking up the stem bolt deal was worthwhile because it was a rare big win for Quark. And that's, the nature of TV shows is you never show the people getting what they want. And for him to have such a great deal where not only is he going to make out like a bandit, he's also going to get sex as well. Like in a movie, he would have gotten both of those things and then immediately died. Like you don't get your pot of gold. And in this case, the prevention of that pot of gold is Zek intercepting this rich girl, telling her the pricing sucked, and where she could get these stem bolts wholesale, and having the justification to do so because they never signed the contract. So jump back to all that about his dick getting in his way of his profits. Great example of him not following the rules of acquisition and suffering for
it. The symmetry of him losing out on the deal because he was too busy getting J-O'd is nice.
the not for profit relief fund or whatever that they set up.
Yes, the Frankie Benevolence Fund. Yes.
Which quite the opportunity there. Zek revealing what the real plot here is by saying, I'm going to give the Bajorans a gift, and it's a big surprise. And Quark, knowing something's up, doesn't want that surprise to happen. He goes to find out. So they sneak onto his bogus-ass little shuttle, where they're almost caught by his bodyguard, who I think they made the right choice here in keeping the bodyguard quiet. He's got some sort, whatever alien race he is, they swear a vow
of silence, except to speak to their master. So he's a Hyperion. It's played by a guy named Tiny Ron.
We've talked about Tiny Ron many times.
Yeah, he has a well-known Voyager episode that we liked. He was Idrin. He was one of the giant Hirogen.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his only like speaking moment, I think, for the character, when he's the version of him that's one of the prophets. And I found it pretty funny that they had him speak during that. It was a clever decision. But he's clearly also like agrees with Quark and Rom, like this is bad. Like, so we have to save Zek from himself. He's just in on it. He doesn't have to tell them, you know.
Absolutely, the gift is going to be a tier, right? A prophet.
No, it's one of the orbs of the prophets. It's the orb of wisdom. So we've been told from the very beginning of the show that a lot of these are missing, and Zek found one. Evidently, he traded for it with the Cardassians. And he was going to bring it to but his initial plan was, I could take this to the wormhole and possibly see the future because I have intelligence that says they're non-linear. That means they see the future, and maybe I can convince them to tell me so I can find profitable opportunity.
He wants those lottery numbers.
Absolutely, right? He wants to back to the future to it. Unfortunately, the prophets have a different idea that this is monstrous behavior and we just need to change you.
Let's talk about the acquisition here real quick. Getting a orb off of the Cardassians and what that must have entailed. We know the deep level of oversight that the Obsidian Order has. And I don't know if we've really seen open treason of Cardassians before. And I can't really look at this as any other way to take something that they so highly covet. Because the Cardassians are all up in Bajoran business. And we know the Cardassians want these fucking orbs. And for somebody at some level to go, I'm going to sell this thing off to a Ferengi. To the Ferengi. The top Ferengi. Like, what deeper things happen there? Was this a state-sponsored sale? And Zek has somehow promised Ferengi resources, maybe, to whatever this Obsidian Order shadow operation is in the no-go zone that they've established where they're building the shadow fleet. Like, that's the kind of interesting stuff that I really could have used in this episode to pull this turd story out of the gutter.
I think there's enough there that I wouldn't call it a turd, but I completely agree with you that there's a missed opportunity in going deeper on the orbs and building out whatever's happening in Cardassia that will put them in a position where they needed to Louisiana purchase away one of these artifacts, right? Like my reference being to when Napoleon sold all of their the U.S. Based land that they had owned or were acknowledged to have sovereignty over in North America to Thomas Jefferson because Napoleon needed money to fight his wars in Europe, and so he was willing to make a deal. And so very similar circumstance here is like, they just hard up for cash and, Mr. Moneybag showed up and he was able to make it happen? Maybe.
I like that. I like some sort of, we know that the Obsidian Order, or at least Central Command, is happy to deal with third-party agents and maybe a broker to deal there. I like the idea that this Orb of Wisdom is highly problematic in unscrupulous circles because exposure to the orb experiences here can make you act wildly different. And when you are selfish or when you are bad and you have aliens rewriting your thoughts to make you the opposite, that could be a real piece of contraband that you don't want officials exposed to. So this orb could have just been a fucking problem and could have zapped a couple high-ranking people
Because Azerothian magic items are things not to be fucked with. We should just get this app off our hands.
We like the Triforce. We like the Triforce of power, but we do not like this wisdom one. This is causing real HR problems.
Yeah, people look into it and then they have maybe think that fascism is bad. We got to stop that.
Why did we
got to put an end to that?
Why did we declassify all these Gestapo files?
Who thought this was a good idea? Henry looked in the orb and thought it was a good. Okay, got it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put this thing off in the next departmental surplus sale.
Yeah, put it on fucking Alpha Quadrant eBay. Zex is the high bidder.
You know what? The Frankie fucked us real hard on this deal. How do we get them back? Let's give that. Go to Warehouse 3. That orb that we have behind 6 feet of lead. Sell that to the Zek for let's see how he let's see what they do to him. Give me that episode.
So they engage in boobery. There's nonsense. They kidnap him. They put him on the shuttle, and Quark takes him into. And we've already talked about it, right? He goes
Give me
in there.
the episode that is just Cardassians on Cardassia 3 with all their fascist bullshit, and then Nagus Zek coming in and fucking around. That would be a wonderful episode of just odd pairings and background info. Can
you imagine Gul Dukat having to deal with Nagus Zek?
This could have been a Dukat episode, man.
Oh my god.
Yes.
The opportunity we lost. Him just being exasperated, him coming to Cisco for help, him coming to Quark for help.
My old friend.
He knows my old friend Quark. Quark, you owe me for all the times I didn't execute you. Let's talk.
That could be, we're joking over here. I think that'd be a rad ass episode, but that could be a good way of making Quark pick between Nagus Zek and reinforcing this relationship with Dukat, and Quark having to go to Cisco and being I don't know how to play this. In my everyday, the station just tried to kill us because of Dukat's old gas station, the poison gas phaser turret booby traps. There is a motivation to maintain a good relationship with Dukat. I don't know. I need an episode that is Dukat and Zek in the same room.
And it could have still been funny. It still could have been comedy, right?
Oh,
it's just
comedy gold.
Comedy. It would have been comedy gold on the same way that Civil Defense accidentally was comedy gold. And instead they engage in some basically physical comedy boobery and, just kind of spending too much time about, oh my God, this is terrible and this isn't going to work. There was maybe 2 scenes of too many of the, the Reformation of Ferengi Society stuff. I got it, the joke the first time.
Yeah.
And you go and did it twice more and it's you don't need, that's not necessary. And that's where when the Ferengi episodes fail is because they do too much boobery, instead of leaning into the shit that works.
Licking the book.
Yeah. All right, got it. So Quark succeeds in his negotiation because he just treats them the way he would treat anybody in making a deal. And he discusses them enough that they basically agree. We don't want to deal with you anymore, and if this is the way we're not going to deal with you anymore, we're going to grant your request, and restores Zek back to where he was. And of course, the big payoff at the end is that he kind of did pay Rom and Quark for being quiet by allowing them to. This is how I interpret it: allowing them to embezzle the funds of the project he wants to be secret from him.
Mm-hmm.
Rom's not clever enough to do that and not get detected. So this is Zek paying them. And maybe Quark knows that. Maybe it's unspoken. But that's my preferential way of looking at it, because Zek's too slick, man. Right? When he was negotiating with Kira and everything, when he came onto the station about all of the, assistance that they could provide Bajor for all of their farming, and how he teased the deal out and forced the interaction in a way that he wanted to get his end result. He's a master capitalist. I don't think there's any way that he doesn't know that Rom stole from him, but he's allowing it because it's his payment for them to be quiet.
That's interesting, and I'm willing to go with that. That's a payoff for them to shut the fuck up, and also, him selling off all of
and fucking
Quark's
him on the self-sealing stem bolt deal, right?
And selling everything in his house.
Yeah.
I can't. Let's not understate. He went into his house and sold walking in your house and your stuff just being gone.
He can't acknowledge doing that, but he can just let them profit off of him as a way to, Zek is a reasonable guy in the sense that he knows that Quark and Rom need to be paid for their silence and that he owes them because he has damaged them. Right? So here's how
Also,
we do
he
that.
can't let it get out that Quark was able to succeed in negotiating with the prophets where Zek failed.
Correct.
And also, this isn't the first time that he has had to move into a shut up money story, right? Because when Pell was outed as being a woman, Zek said, I'm going to destroy you, Quark, for condoning this and letting her escape. And then Quark came back and said, you are going to be punished by this as well because she fooled you too. And you got a lot more to lose than I do. And they parted on very sour terms. But this is now the second time that Zek has had a major weakness exposed in front of them. And I think it's really building a good relationship between this trio as a place where Zek already looks less than, and it's creating a nice like confidant advisory capacity for Quark.
Quark was the only person we've ever seen that's been permitted to act in his stead when he went on the mission in the search, because he
True.
had the staff so that he could negotiate on behalf of Zek, and that's how obviously he got on the mission to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So like there is a implied trust in all of these things, and I always choose to interpret something like we embezzled from the Negus. Well, he let you embezzle because he knew he had to pay you, and he doesn't want anyone talking about that anyway. So why don't you help yourself to the rest of the money, and we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
We're all good here. So we're all good on this one, I think. Sorry, it's only 47 minutes, probably less after I edit it, but
Well, hey,
episodes.
let me just toss some bonus content out there. In Across the Unknown demo, I was able to preserve Chakotay's ship. Were you?
I've only played through it twice.
Only twice.
The first time I actually said, like, I'm going to try to do all the canon things and see like what just happens, right? And then the second time is, what do I have to do to go home? Like immediately, which is pretty easy, honestly.
Absolutely.
But so I have not like tried the corner case stuff that they've already built in there, like trying to preserve the Valjean and that sort of thing.
I didn't even try. I beat the shit out of the Kazon so hard in this battle that Chakotay was never prompted to go take his ghetto sled and ram it. So like, I wasn't even really paying attention. He's like, yeah, I still have the Valjean, so let's see what else we can do. I'm like, how wild is this game? And that's the power of this text-based thing, like them not having to record dialogue on these people. Although I will say, like, the game feels very silent. There's a lack of official music. There's no dialogue whatsoever. And like the cutscenes look so good, it's hard to draw my attention off and read those subtitles. So,
it's still in development. And if, our ambitions are realized, hopefully we'll get some insight into that.
mm-hmm.
But I'm happy, like, as an unfinished product, it's so already like what I want, right?
And
like,
so much better than what's out there currently.
Yeah, like, do you have some interface weirdness you got to work out? Yeah. Do you have some pieces that feel a little like unfinished and unrefined? Of course. Is there like a lack of quality music? Yes. But I would expect that for a product that you're literally still developing. Your core gameplay element is very strong. Like,
it's interesting that you bring up the part about it being mobile friendly if they wanted to go that way, and like it doesn't affect it. Just there's something about the core concept there that is so simple but also so potent. Like, what an interesting way to capture a Star Trek game, because up to this point the best ones have been, for me, Armada and Elite Forces.
I saw you try. Were you trying the Telltale adventure game?
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
I saw that on your we're Steam friends. I see things.
Yeah. I am going to play that upstairs because it's something that I can do from the couch that I don't care if the kids were watching me play, and I think it might actually be a fun story for like other people sitting by to kind of experience along with it. Did you touch that at all?
No, I was interested in your take on it because I'd always looked at it and been like, I don't know, like, kind of want to do this, but what is it?
It feels like playing Mass Effect between the combats, just wandering around the Citadel, and you can pull one of the triggers or whatever, and like all the interactable elements will like light up with little waypoints over them. And you walk over, you look at the thing, and like you get some box dialogue talking about this or that, or someone's, hey, help me with this little mini game on the transporter panel, and you do it, and you accidentally transport somebody. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, we just did an unauthorized transport of this guy. Like, let's keep that a secret." So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. It's very simplistic in like the graphics, but it's right in that 24th century time slot I care about.
Yeah, for the first contact uniforms, I saw that.
Yeah, so I actually forgot about. Yeah, I'm gonna make my kids watch as it gets cold. There's gonna be a lot more video games in the house, and that's definitely be one up at the forefront, I think.
Okay, well, I got some things to catch up on. For example, I promised I'd try Alien Earth based on your recommendation, so we could talk
You
about
need
that.
to.
And
I tried Day of the Jackal. I don't think that's a TV show for me.
okay, thank you for trying it. Can you see where the quality is? Like, you know,
I can, we keep coming back to like, what does media look like in the current day when the monolithic culture is gone and there is a show for everybody, no matter how
niche, yeah.
niche it is. And that, once you're 5 minutes into slowly building a rifle out of the suitcase, and I'm like, is this just gun porn? Like, I don't care about this. And then them tying in like, oh, this gun is very important. And that's like basically what puts this entire case together. I can appreciate the detail of storytelling happening there, but there's too much detail, and these characters are too much for me. But yeah, Alien
I
Earth.
understand. I like spy thrillers. Like I've always been a big fan of like that sort of deep stuff. So it
That
is not
dude's
for everybody.
brutal, though, man. That was a very brutal activity in that. It's
Yeah.
surprising what you can get away with on TV right now.
So I'm gonna. Okay, so stop listening to the episode if you don't want to be spoiled on Day of the Jackal. But I'm gonna spoil it because now Peter's not gonna watch it, and I can tell him like why I love it as much as I do. It's a 10 episodes. Eddie Redmayne's great, and Lashana Lynch plays the like protagonist, I guess you would say, the good guy in the show who's hunting the jackal. And I think my favorite part of the show is that it it subverts your expectations by making you think every step of the way that this woman is going to catch up with the jackal and eventually succeed in defeating him or arresting him or killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the very end, and actually the jackal just obliterates her. It's just like no shot. Just she girl boss is too close to the sun and gets annihilated.
Okay.
And it was something extraordinarily satisfactory about the fact that after that moment, and then you go back and watch about how everything that happened in the show was basically designed to set her up to think she could do that, and actually she got disposed of by her superiors in a perfect way to be killed by him. It's like the show's construction is almost a work of art because you watch the whole thing and then you like wait what, and you go back and you're like, oh, she got set the fuck up from the start, and the show does a really good job of cloaking that while still putting all the pieces there. But when you get to the end and you see what happened, you're like, oh shit, she was just another person the jackal was here to kill.
I will say at the end of the first episode, which was very slow, and like halfway through, like my wife had bought out, and I was like, and I'm like, if you're done, we can just turn this off. She's like, well, let's watch until the end. I did like at the end where the employer stiffs him on the money, is just like, fuck you.
Yes.
And I'm like, part of me is kind of curious, like, who is this guy that is hiring? Hey, you're a world-class assassin. We're hiring you to do this very impossible shot, and now we are going to explicitly make an enemy out of you. Like, who is this dummy?
Well, let me tell you, several episodes that explore how dumb that guy ends up being. But that it's not for everybody. So I totally respect you gave it a try. I know that it fall a little bit outside your wheelhouse, but I was impressed. It's a show whose continuity is really good. Like it tells a story over 10 episodes that's very tight and engaging, and it feels like a book. And it's maybe more of a me thing. I'm looking forward to watching Alien Earth.
It did feel like a book.
Yeah.
Alien Earth feels like
a book. It's based on a book. So
Alien Earth feels like a movie, and I'm not going to hype it any harder, but very curious to see what your experience there looks like.
All right, I think we finally did fill enough time to almost get to an hour.
Absolutely.
I should believe in us when it comes to this.
Always.
All right, and what are we watching next week? What are we doing?
I completely forgot about
we're going to be doing Patreon content, you and me. But what's the next DS9 episode?
We're going to get into Visionary. That's season 3, episode 17. Oh, good. 2 miles. I was afraid he was getting lonely without having a clone. I'm happy to say they got him back. After receiving a minor dose of radiation poisoning. What is a minor dose on Deep Space Nine?
It's like, is that a little cancer?
What is considered a minor dose for Greater Starfleet? Now, what is considered a minor dose in the facility formerly known as Terek Nor? Because this is the same guy who just had to crawl down a plot hallway when the station was going to blow up with Jake Sisko, and he was burned and irradiated until Jake pulled him out. After receiving a minor dose of radiation poisoning, O'Brien inexplicably begins experiencing a series of jumps into the near future. Very Star Trek. Meanwhile, a Romulan delegation arrives at the station expecting an intelligent report on the domain. Fuck yes. I am happy that we just paid the fucking piper for this clown-ass profit motive episode if we are bringing in the Romulans. I love the Romulans.
Yeah.
They have always been in TNG this highly adversarial adjacent thing, and I know that but through the Dominion War we're going to have Klingons and Romulans on the same side with the Federation, so very excited to see the foundation of that.
Yeah, I remember the B plot of this more than the A plot because the B plot builds on the continuity both that of what has happened and what will happen, because this is a direct reference to the fact of what did we hear in the Search Part 1. Oh, we have a cloaking device on the Defiant because the deal we made with the Romulans to have it is that we give them all the intelligence on the Dominion.
Yes.
So now they're here for it, right?
Yes.
And like this episode builds into other things that happened in the season. Like it's really cool what they managed to do by respecting themselves enough to do it. So I look forward to revisiting the A plot. It's a little hazy in my mind. It's Brian suffers type of thing. Like sometimes they run together a little bit, but that is what we will hit next week. Thanks for listening. See you then.